Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, which is about professionalism in the classroom and whilst teaching. All right, great. My name is Lisa. I'm from South Africa, from a small town called Robertson. I've been teaching English for many years now, both in person and online. And I think today's topic is very interesting and important. So first off, we will have a bunch of slides for about half an hour, and then the second half an hour, we can chat and ask and answer questions, and there'll be a Q&A session. So today we're just talking about that, not assignments, but about professionalism in the classroom. All right, excellent. In the EFL, English as a foreign language classroom. All right, let us jump off. Okay, in any career, what you put in is what you get out. And as a new EFL teacher, you will soon learn that in teaching, there are certain required standards of professionalism which will have to be maintained. Today, we will examine the following aspects as they relate to professionalism in the classroom. Administration. So that's admin. And I was going to say as well, you're welcome to say hi and say where you're from. And I will greet everyone and we will chat in half an hour. Otherwise, I get too distracted. And I get, oh, hi. So it is really nice to see someone from Nigeria. Welcome. And welcome to everyone else who is here. Okay, I will go back to the topic. That is what I mean by getting distracted. So admin, lesson preparation, interaction with students, personal learning networks, and your continuing professional development. So as you continue teaching, you keep on working on your professional development. Okay, excellent. All right, so admin. Walking into a school on your first day is exciting and nerve-wracking. A little administrative preparation will keep you organized. So if while you're doing your assignments at the moment, you know that the more organized you are, the better. And with teaching, it is exactly the same. So if you have these are some tips that will keep you organized and on top of everything, having your proverbial ducks in a row. So a weekly teaching timetable, obviously which students you have, which classes you have. So this will, if you're teaching online or at a school, you need to have your teaching timetable. Then a to-do list. What do you need to work on or remember for technology? Like what computers do you need? Artwork, special materials. What things do you need to take with you to class? What things do you need to have ready to share online? So it works in the same way. And a reflection section. That rhymes. So after every day or every class, this is a place to reflect. How did that class go? Did that exercise work? Was it a success? Was it a disaster? So to reflect on how certain things happened in the class. This is also a very, very important aspect. What could you do better next time? And then a summary of the completed work. So useful to include a short summary of everything completed in each class. After 20 classes, you'll be, did we finish that book? What on earth? So always, and you can have it on a piece of paper or on the computer, depending on how old you are. I like to have things written down and ticked, but it makes no difference as long as you know what you're doing. Okay. So your teaching file that you need to, this should include, okay, I'm looking at two lots of notes here. So your teaching file should include the syllabus. This might be given to you by the school that you're working at, or you have individual students and each one has a syllabus, but you need to keep a list, keep tabs of that as well, a syllabus or the scheme of the work that you're doing. A register for each class. Who was there? Who was not there? So you'll see one child or one adult never arrives for class. So to keep a register, just like school in the older days. Lesson plans. So like you're working on your lesson plans in your assignment, those lesson plans are what we're referring to here. So that you know This is a grammar lesson. This is a reading lesson. You need to have all of that information kept in a file. Sample worksheets, material, so all of the things you're going to do in class, your books, all of the stuff you need, and keep this file neat and up to date. All right, resources. So everything that you use, you also have to keep a bibliography of your resources, online resource files, not only so that you can say, I used that, but also so you can find it again. Because often you go, what was that again? So you need to keep a note of that as well. And usage right, is there copyright? Like if you want to use a song or a book, do you need permission to use that? Or a certain book? Or you're going to use open source material and Creative Commons, etc. So you need to keep a tab of that as well. All right. Lesson preparation. If you ever have taught a class and not been prepared, you will know exactly why this is so important. You need to be prepared for every lesson. Prepare a lesson plan and a backup lesson plan for anything that could go wrong. Be adaptable. Be willing to improvise. So I say, like, if you're online, maybe your camera stops working, or maybe so you have to always be ready. So if what you plan doesn't work, that you have something else. And it's a 1 hour. So a 1 hour class, face-to-face lesson will take you 2 hours of lesson preparation. Not for every single lesson. Once you've done your prep, you can recycle the prep. Once you've done lesson plan, every time you teach the past continuous, you can go back to the same lesson plan. Maybe you have to make it for older students or younger students, but you can use that. So that preparation, the 2 hour lesson preparation, isn't for every single lesson always. It's for your initial lesson. Okay. With experiences, here it goes. You can recycle and adapt your teaching material. So once you have that lesson plan, you can use it. You may also have to find extra resources for your students. So you need to set aside time to get these jobs done properly. If you rush, you might find that your lesson planning doesn't go quite how you want it to. You'll either go over time and not manage to cover everything, or you need it in the lesson, or you finish so quickly and then you've got another half an hour and you're thinking, so what do we do now? So you need to, time management is also key. All right. Interaction with students. Okie dokie. So you must be a teacher. Don't be a mom or a dad or a friend. Put aside issues at home in your real life and focus on teaching. And look the part, dress neatly, maintain school protocols. So you always have to look like a teacher and be punctual. All right. It seems like common sense, but always keep it in mind. Also, you might be teaching online or in a country where dressing neatly is not your usual neatly. It might have to be neater. There are certain countries where you can't show your shoulders or your arms, that kind of thing. So you need to keep all of that in mind as well. I don't think we go into that, but just to keep that in mind. All right, interaction with students. So students will respect you if you talk to your students. Try and spend a few minutes chatting with them about school or university, or their work. So you have a relationship with them. As I said, you mustn't be their mom or friend, but you still need a teacher-student relationship. Ask how they're doing, what do they do at the weekend. Show interest in your students. Be a teacher. So don't walk into the classroom carrying with you your argument that you had with your family. Put aside your issues and focus on teaching. So maintain a learner-centered classroom. Every child deserves a champion. All great teachers are also great actors and actresses. So if you have any experience in that, use it. This is true of the class is about your students and their learning, not about your performance. Okay, so you maintain a learner-centered classroom. As we often say, teacher talk time, that you try and lesson teacher talk time because the lessons are for the students. Be patient, be confident, be approachable. All right. Show genuine interest in your students. Give them positive feedback always. Don't forget about that. I think sometimes we do. Yeah, you sort of brush over it, but every single step that they've made, yeah, you need to congratulate them. Well done, that they've done so well. Keep your good communication skills with your students. Empathize with your students if they're having exams or if they have, if they're having an issue at home or in class, that you can empathize with them. And as I said before, minimize teacher talk and listen carefully to your students. All right. It also says, so here we go. More interaction with students. Give encouragement, as I said before. Just to tell students that they're doing well, not to always say, no, that's not right. To also say, yes, that was right. Establish a classroom contract and treat all your students fairly. Do not have favorites. Might be hard, but definitely don't have favorites. Keep your sense of humor at all time and familiarize yourself with the safeguarding policy. So it's also how the school, I'm not going to be able to say this clearly, but safeguarding. So that's rights and responsibilities of the teachers and the students within, if that's online or within a school. So make sure that you know what those policies are. So you can act quickly and appropriately if any student is in potential danger. So if there's a student who is having a problem with a parent or another teacher, that you know the right way to go about dealing with that. If it's an online lesson, think about the best way to engage the interests of the class, get them to participate, all this kind of thing we will go into as well. I have notes and slides, so if my eyes are going back and forth, it's because I'm making sure that we have covered everything. All right, this is a very good point. Be honest. If you can't answer a question, create a positive learning experience by asking the students to research and share the answers. Sometimes you do something and obviously you know it, but you just can't remember. What on earth does that word mean? Or you've just forgotten for a second, or you can't think of the word. So don't pretend you know it. Just face up and be honest. One of the most stressful aspects as a new teacher is being asked a question by students and you don't know the answer. It's best to admit to anything you don't know or understand. You can turn it into a positive learning experience. If it is an online lesson, think of great ways to engage the students. So there are all sorts of fun online things like gallery view, quizzes, breakout rooms, worksheets, interactive whiteboards, all that kind of thing. Learn composure and patience. Always breathe in, breathe out. Carry on. This is perhaps easier online than in a classroom, but the same rules apply. Okay, as I said, I just mentioned all of those things. So the online lessons, there's so much nowadays in the last 5 years that is available now. And I mean, obviously teaching has been around for many years, but the same things are available in a classroom and online. Be flexible, as we said before. So you might have to change your mind. You might have to do a different, you plan to do something and then the power goes out, or you plan to do something at school and then it's raining. So you can't go outside and look at or sit under the tree, or it's a lovely day and you can sit under the tree and carry on with your lesson. So accept and embrace each new situation. All right. Your own personal learning networks. I didn't actually know that PLN was something to know about, but that is, so as you teach, keep learning, because you learn as you teach. So find a mentor, find someone that you can always go to and ask questions. Make friends with the other teachers at the school. I think also if you teach online, you can sometimes feel quite alone. So you can find some online EFL teacher groups. There are lots online. So even through Facebook or probably through LinkedIn, there are all sorts of places where you can join so that you can talk to other teachers and learn more. Lesson observation. So as you can actually watch another teacher teach. So you can watch someone else teach, someone else could watch you teach, and you can share ideas. Be flexible. If you want to travel, there's also if you want to travel around the world teaching English as a foreign language, you'll have to adapt to new countries and situations. Not all schools are the same. One year you might be teaching 15 children in a class, and the next year it might be 30. It might be 30 adults, or it might be 20 toddlers. Some children learn to teach English from the age of 3. So you need to always be flexible. All right. And embrace each new situation. So that's obviously if you're traveling, there will be probably the situations will change more dramatically and perhaps more frequently. Whereas if you're online, you might be with a school for 3 years or 10 years. Or you're teaching at the school and then you swap to another school, and it also changed. So keep on learning. That is the point here. Excellent. Here's more about continuing your professional development. So find out if the school you're working for offers CPD sessions. Familiarize with the latest teaching methodologies and attend conferences and lectures. So you can do that online as well. Like for instance, Preply, I don't know about this one, always has webinars and things that you can join, just like right now. You are at a webinar, and there are loads of them online and at schools, even in your town. You might find your town or city, there might be a school where you can do a refresher course or an extra. Maybe you want to do business English as well, or you want to teach a different group of students. So keep on learning, just like as you teach, as I said, keep on learning. Read resources relating to your teaching specialization. So ELT magazines and journals, take an extra course. Keep yourself, if you hope to maintain a professional image as a knowledgeable EFL teacher, you'll have to be familiar with the latest teaching methodology. Try and attend seminars, lectures, subscribe to blogs, find out if your school, as we said, offers extra sessions, find resources. If, as I said, like if you do business English or if you teach other languages, not only English, there are also things to find out about. Here are some names. There's EFL magazine, Demand High ELT, English Language Teaching, Global Blog, British Council. All of those that I mentioned will be on the TTA. You'll find those on their webpage. Great way to network as well. So you can meet like-minded people and be exposed to the latest thoughts and ideas in TEFL, in TEFL. If you don't have the funds or the time to attend a live conference, a webinar is similar to a conference and online and free. So there's some more ELT magazines and journals, Modern English Teacher, EFL. I'll put up some of those names later. Actually, let me do it right this minute. I'm going to just put it on. Don't you hate that when you go to Control V, but you actually just did V? I'm going to put those names up of some. There won't be links. They'll just be names of magazines. Okay. So those are just some names so that you can continue your professional development and keep up to date with technology as well. So things like you can't be working on Windows 7. So keep up with that. Make sure that your microphone is okay, that your camera is all right, all of that kind of stuff that that you're ready. If your power goes out, that you've got stuff to keep your Wi-Fi going, all that kind of stuff. Which now I can't think of the words, which are that kind of stuff. That is not professionalism, and how I just said that. All right. But definitely important. And online stuff is very much so computer centered that you really do need to keep up to date. All right. And self-care. Maintain a balance between work and personal life. That's a very hard thing to do. I think often one's so grateful that one has work, that one just works. I speak for myself here, but you're like, okay, it's work, let's just do it. Get professional help if you need it. If things get overwhelming, find someone who can listen and give appropriate support. So if you just like, there's always someone to talk to. If it's a friend or someone online or someone at your school. And with any job, what you put in is what you get out. So a focus on professionalism will help you enjoy a fulfilling career path. And this is a great career path. It really is such an amazing opportunity for anyone who can speak English, whether as a first language or a second language, that you can then share it with everyone else. It's really a great, fairly new career. I mean, not very new. All right, now I've got to the ends of the slides. I'm now going to greet everyone. So hi from Nigeria, from Benoni, from Cape Town, more from Cape Town, from China, Birmingham. And here's a nice comment already. I'm going to really share that because it's a great comment. You're not just teaching, and that's the end of it. You're growing every day and learning from others. Thank you so much. That is such a lovely comment. Very, very nice and true. Hi from Brazil and from Coventry. So we really have got from different continents and different countries. It's always so much fun. I always think, there you are. There we all are sitting in our offices, bedrooms, lounges, wherever we are. And here we are chatting to people from all around the world. It's an astounding thing. And Mexico, oh my word, we really do have. We have Europe, South America, Africa, Asia. This is so cool. Oh, so enjoy this. All right, now we will go to our Q&A. I don't think I rushed that too much, but we do have an extra few minutes for questions. So any questions or comments that you would like to ask, and I will do my best to answer them. It is always fun to share ideas. I often think that, wherever one has worked, you know your set of information, but you learn more from every single other person who is here, and we can all share ideas as we were just talking about. So any questions, you are welcome to ask them. And I will have some. So good afternoon. Some people are in the afternoon, some people are in the morning, some people in the evening, and some people probably last time or a couple of times ago, there was someone from Australia and it was terribly late for them. It was like 2 a.m. For everyone else, it's at a fairly decent time. So I think as well, we need to get ready and put on one's teacher face every day and know that, when you spot a child that you teach in the supermarket and they're so astounded to see you, there's something about teachers that I'm not going to say we're superheroes, but we are like, if anyone has had that, where you spot someone that you teach and they see you, they can't believe that teachers are actually people that do normal things like go to the shop. All right. So, questions. I will relate this back to all of the assignments that you're writing, which were all of your assignments where you talk about lesson plans. So all of this as well, if you have those lesson plans that you're doing now in your assignments, you can use those. Then you are prepared professionally for some of your lessons. So don't think that it's just for this course. Those lesson plans that you are creating now, you can use in the future. So, questions. Usually they come flooding out. Oh, here we go. I see one. So I didn't spot that one. Here we go. This looks like, have you ever lost composure or was close to losing composure in a lesson? How did you deal with that moment? I think one has. Sometimes, we always say don't shout at children, or I'm thinking of children because that's what I'm thinking back on. I think we all have, where you've asked students 15 times to please be quiet and they just don't. So, yes, try never to shout. It never helps. And especially as soon as children, again, I say children, it isn't only children that do this, but when they start blaming, it wasn't me. And they all speak at once. So if you are close to losing composure, take a deep breath, breathe in and out, and realize that don't shout. Shouting never, ever solves anything. And also, I think that the students they lose some respect for you if you lose your composure. So just take a deep breath in and out and change the subject. Say, great. We all go to, in fact, say to everyone, we all going to take a deep breath in and out, and we will continue, and we will now move on to our worksheet. I often say this is something I've used as an answer for many questions, but if you change the subject just slightly and not distract, but it gives you a moment and you sort of catch the students unawares. You like, or just get everyone to stand up and sit down. You change the dynamic in a way. That's my advice. Change the dynamic and don't shout. Just like if you've ever, there's so many jobs that are so different, but in a way they are similar. People in their lives have waitressed. Whatever. And like they always say, don't run. don't get that hurried that you run. It's the same thing. So don't shout. If you get to that where like, that kind of energy, breathe and take a moment. And in theory, it all sounds good. In reality, what are the problems you've had? Yeah, I do teach a group of children on a Wednesday afternoon. And yes, they are a challenge. They're a mixed age group. And so you just have to go step by step, week by week. All right, here's a very interesting question. A 70-year-old with a right TEFL certificate be engaged to teach English online. I think that's possible. If you are, I think nowadays, the concept of retirement is sort of who retires nowadays? That's like something our grandparents did. We all need to work. So if you have the right TEFL certificate and you have your computer and you are ready to go, go for it. Go for it. I think with experience, the experience and knowledge that you have, I think it's a great idea. I hope that schools will be open-minded enough to know that if you want to work, you can work. So go for it. I hope that you will get a job. Why ever not? It is nice for older people. Not all the jobs are for 20-year-olds. Some are for older people. So I think it's a great idea. So great advice. I'll try. I work with different kinds of people in my life, so I always think, I think they relate. And in fact, I've had a lot of different jobs as well. I mean, this is what I'm doing now, what I've done for quite a few years, but I've had other jobs. And I think that the crossover for a lot of jobs, that you have the same skills, patience, breathing, people skills. It's all the same kind of thing. How to find other EFL teachers online to communicate and learn from them to plenty our professionalism. A great question. I think firstly, while you are with TTA, then join the webinars, because every Saturday there's a webinar, and every single Saturday there's another topic, and there are new people from around the world, and that we all share ideas with each other. So that's the first one. There are groups. There are Facebook groups. Sometimes that can be a little bit negative. They all moan about there's no work or whatever. Another place where I've seen a lot of positive stuff is on LinkedIn. Is that people do chat, and I think that if you were to put some ideas and questions out there, I think that you would get answers. LinkedIn seems to be quite a more positive environment for sharing experience and advice. I think it is. I always used to think, I don't know why, but a long time ago when it first came out, I used to read LinkedIn as LinkedIn. That's embarrassing. But anyway, it might be some useless information. But I do think it's quite a useful place to share ideas. There's another great comment here. British Council teacher community is a good place to interact with other professionals. Thank you, Hira. I hope I said that correctly. Thank you for that. Very nice. So write that down. British Council teacher community. That is thank you very much for very, very useful information. Here is another great comment. How to start teaching people older than us as a beginner. Very good question. We might get under the influence and lose all our concentration on the subject. Okay, Gloria, great question. Okay, so I think preparation is key, firstly. So, when you start teaching, if you go into a new school or if you're online, we're all beginners at some stage. We all start somewhere. So do your preparation. Just be prepared and smile. Be willing to say, oh my goodness, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. But if it's grammar, for instance, just make sure you know that grammar back to front, upside down, so that you don't get confused. If it's one-on-one, it will probably be fine. If it's in a group, if you're teaching people, adults, and you are young or just a beginner, lose all concentration. Just keep your notes. Make sure that you have your notes, that you have your topic, that you're ready. That's the best advice I can give you, that you are just prepared and be willing to change the topic or change the energy if things don't go like you planned. Be prepared to be unprepared. That sounds silly. But as I say, everyone is a beginner, and after a week, you're not a beginner anymore. Once you've done something once or twice, then you're fine. Then you learn. Then you're on track. Then then you're not a beginner. You're only a beginner for a short while. And then you're not a beginner. You're never a beginner forever. Or learn forever, but we're not a beginner forever. Okay, very nice. Just a general piece of information that I didn't say at the beginning, but all of these webinars are on YouTube. So if you go to the TTA website and then go to YouTube and then go to the TTA YouTube page and click on videos, then all of the webinars that we've done for years are all there, so that you can have a look at them, specifically for assignments. So if you're working on L5A, then you can go and look at the L5A webinar, and it will be very helpful. So that's just a piece of extra advice. So all of the webinars are on the YouTube channel. So this one will be on from Tuesday, I think. So after a couple of days, then everything gets put onto YouTube forever. All right. So if anyone else has any advice or questions, here's another great question. Okay. Hi, Hanu. Breakout rooms on online lessons. I'm not so positive for those. I think they're often ineffective. I think that they aren't a catch-all. You can't use them for absolutely everything. But for instance, if there is, say you have a class of 6 students, for instance, and it's the freer practice stage, and you want the students to chat to each other, then maybe you've got them in a pair in a breakout room, another pair in a breakout room, another pair in a breakout room. Say, I'll see you again in 5 minutes. So I think, I don't think it's for everything, but I think that it can be used. Then you can check in on the first pair, and then you can check in on the second pair and check in on the third pair. So I think they can be effective, but maybe not for everything. Because you can put them into breakout rooms, they can go wild. Again, I think of students I know that would be going wild. So it depends. If you find it ineffective, then it's fine. Then don't use them, Maybe mute some students and have everyone together and have gallery view with only 2 talking, and that the students can watch each other instead of sort of hiding in different groups. Yeah, it depends. Like if you were in a classroom, would you send students off into pairs, or would it be in front of everyone? So it would depend on each activity. But very good question. Thank you. Question: how do you figure out the English level of a student? All right, well, it depends. I often say depends. I repeat myself. So if it's in a school, the students will probably be grouped together, more or less. There'll be a pre-intermediate class or upper intermediate, more or less. So if it's a school, you will probably be informed of it. If it is something like Preply kind of thing, then you'll do a test, a speaking and writing test, which will help you figure out the level. And if it's a private student, also there are tests online that you can find and that you can just chat to them. Or, you also, like, if they're at a high level, you could do an IELTS kind of test. So there are a variety of different tests that you could use to check. Sometimes, and also you have different levels within that. So some students, their speaking level is quite high, but their reading level is lower, or vice versa. Okay. So I think there are some tests. See, someone said, I missed a question. Hi, Johanna, let me look back on your question. Oh, there we go. Okay. That is your figure out the English level of a question. So thank you. Yeah, there are tests online that you can find, and as I say, at different schools will have them. They will tell you. All right, very nice. Thank you. Great. Here's another great. How to conduct a class with multi-level students. Some can barely speak English, any English, and some are A1 and some. That is a challenge. That is a challenge. Oh my goodness. There was a webinar on teaching English to students with different levels. I think now I'm just coming up with an idea and an answer. I'm just making it up. I mean, so like if you decide, okay, we are going to do adjectives. Okay. Then everyone will do adjectives. And you just have to go, okay, so very simple adjectives to those who can barely speak English, medium, and more advanced. So if you have the same topic and just sort of have different levels of it. So perhaps, if these are all adults, for instance. Yeah, let's go with adults this time. That you have different reading tasks. So you're going to spot adjectives in a simple reading task, a medium reading task, and an advanced reading task. It sounds like the three bears. So you've got hot, cold, and just right. So I would pick within the same class, I'd pick the same topic and just get varying degrees of it. It won't be easy, but it will be possible. It's another thing where you have your lesson that you've planned. So you have let's use one. You've got your first conditional lesson, for instance. I'm referring to the assignments you do. And you've got simple first conditional, medium first conditional, and advanced first conditional, and then work around it. That is what I would do. I would just get the same topic so we don't all get lost, so that we all learning the same things at the same time. And then speaking tasks. You might even be able to get some more advanced students to sort of share some of the knowledge that some of the more advanced students work with the less advanced students in pairs could also work, that you sort of mix and match. I hope that was helpful. All right. And I think there is a webinar on that. I think I've done a webinar on that, on teaching classes with multi-level students. So if you go to the page and have a look, and other people have also done, we often all do different webinars. So I think there is one specifically on that topic. A South African Teacher's Handbook. Offhand, I can't think of one. But again, go to the TTA web page and look, because there is a lot of resources, loads and loads and loads of resources on the TTA. There's lots of stuff. So there will be resources there. I say that with such confidence because I am sure that there are some. Thank you for a great question. All right, excellent. Thanks, Joanna. Sorry, I missed your question. It's a whole strip, and I'll go through the strip and just see that I didn't miss anything else out. Afghanistan, Cape Town. I so love that there are people from all around the world. Pakistan, Coventry, Finland. All right. So if there are any other questions, we still have 16 minutes of me probably talking too much. So has anyone else had an experience where they have found their composure after almost losing it? You're welcome to to share something such as that. I do think that, everyone has lost their temper for a moment. It's to find it again, find it, come back, breathe. We all have patience, and sometimes it runs out. Sometimes, so we just got to find it again, and keep professional, and smile. All right, great. So, as I say, we still have some time. In 15 minutes, when we have done, I'll go on about this now as well, because probably there will be more questions in the interim. After the webinar, then we ask if you will fill in a survey for us so that you can say what was useful and not as useful. Okay, here we go. Great. Here are some 2 great comments and questions. So, I always drink a glass full of water just before losing composure. Cold water. Cold water. Cool yourself down from the inside. That will probably, as I said, breathing, glass of water. Take a moment. This is a very good advice. Good advice. Actually, I do that as well. I'm thinking now, nice cold water. Rehydrate yourself. And that's a very good piece of advice. Glass of water is a very good piece of advice. Remember that. Thank you. All right, another great. How do you manage it? One student who wants to dominate a lesson. Oh my goodness. That is such a good, you can picture them. You're picturing those students. I'm sure everyone here is picturing, they know that student who wants to dominate a lesson. To not give too much attention to that dominating student is something. You can't completely ignore them, but don't give that student too much attention. And as I think I've said before, is maybe give that student an extra task, or actually sometimes to give the one who wants to dominate, give them something to do. So maybe, this is it's a real classroom. Maybe that's the student who writes down things on the board. Sometimes if they're actually given something to do, they stop trying to dominate every other part. Sometimes that just makes it worse. So it depends. It's hard. That is very hard. If it's online, you could literally mute that person for a little while. You could say, we're all going to be quiet for a moment, and maybe mute everyone. Teach everyone. Mute everyone for a little while. Also, that would be a very mean way to just mute them. If just them for a little, you will just be muted. That would be not fair. I'm not giving that as advice. That's something we probably all thought of doing. That is not good advice. And if it's in an actual lesson, that's where you drink a glass of water. Or change the topic again. If they're being very disruptive, for instance, they would change the topic and go, we're all going to stand up, turn around, sit down, and work on this. So change the topic, change the energy. But it's not easy. It's not easy, and there's no one answer, because once you've done it once, and that student is fine, and then half an hour later or 10 minutes later, they're back again. So I'd just be aware of that student and don't give too much attention, because otherwise that they can completely take over. So not ignore, but don't get obsessed with that student, because one can. You get all you try to do is stop that one student, just sort of put them to the side of your mind and carry on. Keep calm and carry on. I hope that, there are many different things you can do, and you'll have to do each and every one of them in each and every class. And drink a glass of cold water. Okay, thank you. Do you teach all over the world or mainly only in South Africa? So I have taught online around the world, and in South Africa at the moment I do teach some children. I do teach some children here in South Africa, but I've taught adults and children in different countries, and it doesn't matter. What is great about that is we are all the same. Children from around the world are naughty in exactly the same way, which is so lovely. I love that. I love that. They're good and naughty in exactly the same way, which is such fun. And we are all so similar. We're different countries and all around the world, and it's all the same. I mean, different and the same. Thanks for that great question, Hanu. Thank you. To bring forward too shy to speak to students. Yes, it's the opposite of the one who wants to dominate. So working in pairs is nice. When I spoke to my daughter, who is one of those people who loves doing, she's shy and then loves doing theatre. So that kind of person. I said, group work, team. That's her worst when they have to get put in a group because it demands that kind of student has to speak up. So that will solve the problem, but those who are too shy will go, oh no, now I have to talk. Now I have to talk. It works, but those shy children might go, oh. So it does work, but it's not necessarily the answer that they want. It's hard. There's so many different kinds of shyness as well. So work on them gently. Work on them gently, and don't immediately. That kind of shy student might also like to read aloud. You never know. So just spend more time on that student than the one who is trying to dominate. That's my advice, because there will be something there. You just find your way. Gently. Always try to do things gently. So don't, if you throw a big thing out and then it doesn't work, just gently, step by little step. There's another great answer to those dominating students. Remind students why they're in the class. I think sometimes they forget. Why are you here? If you don't want to be here, just go. Obviously they're there to learn. I know. Sometimes I do think students forget why they're there. You think, yes, I think now high school students who are definitely not there to learn. They're just forced to be there. Whereas I think with TEFL and TESL, the students are there to learn, but maybe their parents told them that they're there to learn. Maybe they're not as sure as their parents are that they want to learn. You think they should learn English, they're not entirely sure. All right, great. But that is, if the students are being too dominant or too shy, remind them all together, everyone, that we are all there to learn, and that the more they learn, the better it will be, and that it's fun. Remind them it's fun. I do think that this is to add fun to these classes is very possible, and to make it that it's not a chore. If the lesson is, if you enjoy teaching and you enjoy the lesson, then your students probably will as well. And if you like your students, they're going to like you. And if you don't like them, you have to pretend, and then they'll like you. I'm joking again. I talk nonsense. Don't believe everything I say. Thank you. Great comments again. Whenever I get comments, and then you think you've got someone in your head that you think, but We all have those and we love them anyway. Okay, very nice. We have only a few minutes left of this lesson. So professionalism, the most important thing is that we are the teacher. That is just remember, like with if you're a parent, you go, I am the parent, and sometimes you need to remind yourself, I am the teacher in exactly the same way. So you are in charge in a wonderful, gentle, lovely way, but you keep your professionalism, and then you are on the right track. Very nice. So we are so close to wrapping up. If anyone has any last gems and words of wisdom, because I often think I've said one or two useful things, and most of the students have said so many more useful things. So it is a great place to share ideas and to get, I can't word what I'm trying to say. If you get a bit nervous and you think, I can't do that, when you chat to other teachers like here, then you see we all have to deal with the same things, and we all get through it, and we'll all be fine. Are there any other questions? All right, I'm going to actually move to the next slide. In the meantime, just thank you for attending. We can probably fit in one or two last little small questions. But in the meantime, here is that Survey Monkey survey to take a few minutes to fill this in and say if you thought this was useful, if you think that if you would love if we could do a webinar on something else and we haven't, that you could say, please do a webinar on this, and then we will. I say that with such confidence that we probably will. So you can use either the QR code or go to the webpage. I'll put that up as that. I don't know if you can copy and paste from that. You might be able to, if that will be useful. And in the last 3 minutes also, we can just fit in one or two last quick questions. I always enjoy this so much, and I hope you have as well. I do like to talk. And in a way, I feel like I'm listening, even though I'm just reading. So I feel that we have shared ideas. Thank you. And if anyone has anything else to say, because I will not leave for 3 more minutes, 2 more minutes, that you are welcome to pop it in. I think most phones just have a QR code reader on them. I had a new phone and didn't. I had to download one. Thank you, Hanu. Very good hour. Thank you. Thank you for your great questions. Thank you very much for joining us all. Thank you everyone who has joined and shared their ideas and their questions. I think it is always such a great learning experience. You go back with patience and composure when we teach. And if you're in a class and you're thinking, think back to this webinar. Think how calm it was, how we were all calm, chatting, and drink your glass of water and find your composure. And I'm pretty sure you will. So thank you. Thank you for your thanks. Thanks, Gloria. Thanks, Hira. Thanks, Alina. Thanks, Cara. I hope you've had a great time, and I hope you have enjoyed the rest of your weekend. Yes, it is weekend. I was going to say, it's weekend for everyone. It's not evening for everyone. It's a different times of the day, but it is still weekend. So enjoy the rest of your weekend and your evening and your morning or your afternoon. And enjoy the weather wherever you are. That will be different. It's weekend for everyone, but it's winter or it's summer. So thank you, and good luck with your teaching. Good luck with your assignments. And thank you so much. And I will just put the webinar on the whole page and see you next time. Thank you. All right. Bye.